Well, understanding the coronavirus is difficult enough for us adults, so how are you supposed to teach your children to understand what it is? Joining us with advice on how to talk with your kids about the pandemic is Julia Edelstein. She is the editor-in-chief of Parents Magazine. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me on.
You know, you're coming to us from Fairfield. You're dealing with homeschooling and kids and all of that right now. So we're happy to have you. I know it's a tough time. And, you know, what do you think is the best way to talk to your children? What if they're really little? Is there a way to explain this to them?
Yeah, well, my kids are 3 and 5, so they're definitely in that category. And I would say that the 3-year-old really doesn't need to know much. Um, but my 5-year-old understands a lot about what's going on because he was in school and he heard things from older kids. And so I think that's kind of the age when you have to start saying a bit more. I would say by now, most kids probably know something. But our advice at parents, and we've been speaking to so many psychologists. We're working on some big features for the magazine just about this, about how to talk to kids about what's happening. And we've been covering it on our website every day. But what they're really saying is, you know, sort of less is more and always be reassuring. And I think what's great, at least at this point, is that you're not alone in talking to your kids about this. There are so many amazing resources. Sesame Street came out with a great special just 2 nights ago, I think. That's perfect for a 3-year-old. Children's podcasts are talking about this. And then I think that educators are. So my son's nursery school shared this really simple story about why schools are closed, and, you know, why we have to stay at home. And that was basically all my 3-year-old needed to know. You know, so I think less is more generally for the little kids.
Yeah, and you mentioned Elmo, which is good. And then you said for the older one, my kids are a little older, you like the Wow in the World podcast. So we'll check those out. What if your what if your child is a little bit anxious and you have to start the conversation? You say we need to do that gently.
Yeah. So, you know, as this goes on longer, I think anxiety is building and we're all starting to think about the long-term impact on our kids. You know, it was fun to be home for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and now it's going on a long time. Things in your house may be a bit strange. Kids aren't having necessarily the snacks they're used to. They're not getting their play dates, and it's starting to hit home a bit. And you may not really know if your kid is anxious. And I think you know, whether there are signs or not, I think all parents are worried about it. So we spoke to psychologists, and what they really said is you don't want to confront your child about it. You don't want them to know that you're worried necessarily. It's better to sort of gently go into the conversation and share something kind of casually about how you're feeling, like, "Ugh, I'm really tired of being at home," or, you know, "the news is kind of bumming me out. I'm feeling a little bit sad today," and see if they respond. Your child may open right up and share how they're feeling. They may actually really be, you know, kids kind of live in their own world and they may really not be worried. They may be fine. They may, you know, my 5-year-old, I don't know exactly how he's doing, but he's loving this extra time with me because I'm a working mom and you know, he's seeing me more than ever. So they may be going through a different experience, but it's important to just every couple of days mention something about it, you know, without going into scary details, just to see if they want to talk.
And you say it's okay to be honest when they say, "Mom, how long is this going to last?" We can be honest that we don't really know the answer.
Yeah, definitely. It's really important not to lie to your kids, I think. But you want to sort of couch that uncertainty with reassurance. You know, reassurance is sort of the name of the game right now. And making sure that kids know that we're the grown-ups and holding it together as best we can. You know, we're all going to lose our temper. We're all going to have moments where we break down, but owning those and sort of apologizing and explaining why they're happening is important. And then, yeah, with the uncertainty, for me, that's definitely the hardest part, not knowing, you know, when life is going to go back to normal, what the future holds. But for kids, you know, remind them about all the things that are the same. So their bedtime is probably the same. Their cereal in the morning is probably the same. And then you can talk about how some things are kind of the same and kind of different, like school. They still have school, they still see their teacher, but in a different way. You know, and then you can talk about the things that were canceled, and then you can share that there are some things that are uncertain, but it's not everything,
Right.
and that you've been through uncertain times before.
Thank you so much, Julia. Some great advice. And of course, we want to let our viewers know that Parents Magazine has been around for nearly 100 years, and it's always offering helpful advice to parents for generations on a range of topics. And Parents, of course, is owned by the Meredith Corporation. That is the same company that owns this TV station.